Something is being quietly taken from you. Not your data, not your privacy. Something far more personal than that. And the most disturbing part, you are letting it happen every single day. In 2024, a team of neuroscientists ran a study. What they found was so unexpected, it changed how they understood the human brain entirely. I will show you exactly what they found. But first, you need to understand what AI is doing inside your skull right now. Here is what nobody is telling you about artificial intelligence. It is not just changing how you think, it is changing the physical structure of your brain. Now, before this gets dark, there is good news. Your brain has a built-in defense mechanism that AI cannot touch. A neurological counter-response that scientists call cognitive sovereignty. I will show you exactly how to activate it, but to get there, you first need to see what you are up against. Let's start with your attention system. Your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for deep focus, critical thinking, and decision-making, is under attack. Every time you ask AI to think for you, your prefrontal cortex gets a signal that says, you do not need to work this hard, someone else is doing it. And your brain, which is brilliantly efficient, starts to reduce activity in that region. Neuroscientists call this cognitive offloading. At small doses, it is harmless, but a 2023 study from MIT found that frequent AI users showed measurably lower prefrontal cortex activation when solving problems independently compared to people who rarely used AI tools. In other words, the more you outsource your thinking to AI, the harder it becomes to think without it. Now, let's talk about your memory, because this is where it gets really interesting. Psychologist Betsy Sparrow at Columbia University discovered something she called the Google effect. When people know they can look something up later, their brain simply does not bother encoding it into long-term memory. Why remember it when the machine will remember it for you? Why solve it when ChatGPT will solve it for you? Why think when AI will think for you? And of everything I'm going to show you today, there is one effect that neuroscientists consider the most dangerous consequence of AI dependency. We will get there, but first, you need to understand the dopamine hijack. Your brain runs on dopamine, and AI knows exactly how to trigger it. Every time you get an instant answer, every time Netflix autoplay loads the next episode, every time Siri removes the friction of thinking, dopamine. The problem is not the dopamine itself. The problem is your brain's baseline. It recalibrates. Activities that used to feel rewarding, reading, problem-solving, deep work, start to feel flat, boring, not worth the effort. This is exactly what the neuroscience study was measuring, and what they found is terrifying. Philosophers Andy Clark and David Chalmers proposed something radical called the extended mind theory. The idea that your mind doesn't stop at your skull. Your phone, your notebook, your Google Calendar, these are extensions of your cognitive system. Now, what happens when the most powerful extension of your mind is an AI that thinks faster than you, remembers better than you, and is available every waking moment? Your brain does what it always does. It optimizes. It offloads more and more cognitive work to the external system until the boundary between your thinking and the AI's thinking becomes difficult to locate. Ask yourself honestly, when did you last solve a complex problem without AI? When did you last sit with a question long enough for your brain to answer it? If this is making you think differently about your relationship with AI, you are exactly who Pinnacle Mind Metrics is made for. Subscribe, because the most important part is coming right now.
Now, the study. Research from the Adolescent Brain Cognitive Development Study, the largest long-term study of brain development in the US, has uncovered a pattern that is setting off alarms. They tracked thousands of young brains over 2 years. What they found was not just a change in behavior, they found a physical change in cortical thickness. The data showed that heavy digital users had significantly thinner cortexes in the regions responsible for critical thinking and impulse control. But even more concerning, recent analysis suggests a breakdown in functional connectivity between the prefrontal cortex and the hippocampus. That is the connection between your reasoning brain and your memory center. When that connection weakens, you don't just forget facts, you lose the ability to manipulate facts, to reason, to connect complex ideas. Neuroscientists are now calling this the cognitive offloading crisis. Your brain is efficiently pruning away the pathways it no longer needs because you have outsourced them to the machine. In plain English, your brain is remodeling itself to need the AI. So here it is, the effect neuroscientists consider most dangerous. It is not the attention loss, it is not the memory erosion, it is the loop. The more your brain offloads to AI, the less capable it feels of thinking independently. The less capable it feels, the more it relies on AI. A self-reinforcing dependency loop that tightens quietly every single day. But here is what the same researchers also found, and this is the part that changes everything. The same neuroplasticity that allowed your brain to restructure around AI can restructure back. Your brain is not damaged, it is adapted, and adaptations can be reversed. Here is the protocol. Number 1, friction is your friend. Deliberately resist the first impulse to ask AI. Sit with the problem for 10 minutes before opening ChatGPT. That discomfort you feel? That is your prefrontal cortex reactivating. That is neuroplasticity in motion. Number 2, the memory reconsolidation practice. At the end of each day, write down 3 things you learned without AI assistance. This simple act forces your hippocampus to consolidate information independently, rebuilding the exact neural pathway the study showed was weakening. Number 3, dopamine detox windows. 1 hour per day with no AI tools. Your dopamine baseline will begin recalibrating within 14 days. Deep work will start feeling rewarding again. Number 4, use AI as a tool, not a crutch. The critical distinction is this: using AI to amplify your thinking is cognitive enhancement. Using AI to replace your thinking is cognitive dependency. One builds your brain, the other quietly erodes it. Remember what I told you at the very beginning? Something is being quietly taken from you. Now you know what it is. It is your cognitive independence, your ability to think deeply, remember independently, and create originally. Neuroscientists have a term for the state of reclaiming this ability. They call it cognitive sovereignty, the conscious, deliberate choice to keep your brain as the primary engine and AI as the tool it directs, not the other way around. Your default mode network, the brain region responsible for imagination and creative thought, only activates fully when you are not consuming external stimuli. That means your most powerful cognitive state requires you to occasionally put the AI down and simply think. So, let's bring it together. AI is quietly restructuring your brain around dependency. Your attention system is being offloaded, your memory pathways are weakening, and your cognitive identity is being slowly redefined. But your brain is not broken, it is adapted, and with intention, it can adapt back. Cognitive sovereignty is not about rejecting AI, it's about staying in the driver's seat of your own mind. If this changed how you see your relationship with technology, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe to Pinnacle Mind Metrics, because next, we are going somewhere even deeper. New research shows the loneliness epidemic is not just a social crisis, it's a neurological one. and the findings will change how you think about every relationship in your life. Think deeper. Stay sovereign. See you in the next one.